There's a trade, and they're not telling me what it is. So we're going to find this out together.
Do you see that?
Oh my God!
This is big!
I want to win it all, and I know this is a great team, great organization that can get it done.
Hurts firing for the end zone and a one-handed attempt. Oh my goodness! A.J. Brown, one-handed catch.
Here goes A.J. Brown, blinding speed.
I'm saying there are guys that you can't cover and there are guys that you can't tackle.
A.J. Brown, unstoppable so far.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Zayho Facts, and this is Talking Sporty, episode 5. The deed is done. The deed is done, y'all. A.J. Brown has been officially traded to the New England Patriots, and it looks like it is for a 2028 first-round pick as well as a 2027 fifth. Might be two 2027 fifths, or I'm not sure how it's broken down. It might be one for 27 and 28, or okay, I have it right here. 2028 first round pick, 2027 fifth rounder. The Eagles are saving about $133 million in cap space, despite $43 million in dead money. So, as expected, y'all, AJ is officially a New England Patriot, and he's already posted on social media an AI generated picture of him in the Patriots uniform when he was a Tom Brady uniform that he edited. And hey, it's official. And here's my, first initial thoughts on everything. Of course, I'm going to miss A.J. Brown. I'm going to miss everything that he contributed. In my last video, I laid out the stats: 4 seasons, 2 All-Pros, 3 All-Pros, actually. 1,000 yards at least in each season. 2023 was a historic season for him. Had 6 straight games with over 125 yards, topping Calvin Johnson's single season record. He was he was a man possessed in 2023, and in 2022 he also balled out and was a big reason for our Super Bowl run, and he balled out in that Super Bowl as well, catching that deep ball from Jalen Hurts. The production fell off over the last couple of years. We shifted to being more of a run dynamic team with the addition of Saquon Barkley, and I think he just became frustrated with everything. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm not really one for the gossip. I'm not really one for the drama. And going into this channel, I really didn't want to be that guy to kind of talk about, things like, drama off the field that contributes to on the field. But I do think that it is warranted in this situation to kind of speak on the speculation. And this, it says credit at Mansasimba. I don't know if I pronounced that right, on X. But take this with a grain of salt. This is really tied back to the Hassan Reddick situation and us trading Hassan Reddick. But rumor is that this guy that posted this, all of a sudden the day that A.J. Brown is traded, he said that he received a direct message from somebody he trusts on this app. According to that information, Hassan Reddick was involved in a dispute with A.J. Brown over a massage therapist that they had both been seeing in 2023, though number 11 allegedly did not know at the time. One person who did know was QB1, Jalen Hurts. However, Hurts' focus was on football, and the team was in the middle of a championship caliber season. The information that I received, suggests that QB1 never informed A.J. Brown because he simply didn't care about the personal drama and viewed it as none of his business. The same source described number 11 as having a sense of blind loyalty that ultimately served his own interests. The characterization was not my wording, but a paraphrased description from information that I reviewed. According to what I was told, the situation contributes to the tension within the locker room during the 2023 season. Reddick was then traded to the Jets in 2024, but that reportedly wasn't enough to resolve the issue that A.J. Brown felt for Jalen Hurts. The 2024 season progressed, and there were already signs of frustration. And one thing that you can allude to is the Brandon Graham interview that he did during that season, where he talked about how 1 and 11 weren't as close anymore. Another thing that you can also allude to that would kind of contribute to this being credible is the Panthers game. And after the Panthers game, when they asked AJ Brown what needs to change in the offense, he said the passing game, directly going at Jalen Hurts. The very next week, Jalen Hurts went out there and went crazy against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which led to Jalen Hurts, sitting down and famously saying that that's what y'all wanted to see. But yeah, this thing that comes out all of a sudden saying that Hassan Reddick basically and AJ, without saying too much, because I mean, all of this is alleged. I guess Hassan Reddick and AJ Brown had a mutual therapist that they were seeing. Maybe they were both messing around with her, and eventually, this was told to Jalen in confidence. To which, once things hit the fan, Jalen didn't stand up for his friend, and AJ probably looked at it as he wasn't being loyal to him, which is a selfish thing to do, in my opinion, because ultimately this is a job and you're putting your brother in a situation where he can't win regardless. So like I said, man, I don't want to get too far into the gossip. I don't want to get too far into the speculation. AJ Brown is a New England Patriot now, and ultimately I do wish him the best. But I just wanted to kind of bring that up because it kind of creates context to people that have been wondering what, went wrong during the collapse of the 2023 season. And this kind of fills in the gaps to things that we might have seen on the field that we questioned in regards to chemistry and things of that nature. So that's the reason that I brought it up. But it's going to be fun to see Smitty grow in this offense. It's going to be fun to see Mekhi Lemon get his opportunity as the wide receiver 2 on this team. And it's going to be interesting to see who does get that wide receiver 3. I'm embracing the competition that we have in the room. And I'm hoping that, Sean Mannion can get the best out of all these guys. And we can be able to go maybe, 4 or 5 wide receivers deep, where maybe we can go into some empty sets and we can really utilize the versatility that our wide receivers have, because we have Wicks, and I'm just talking past Lemon and Smitty because I'm pretty sure that that's 1 and 2, but we also have Hollywood Brown, we have Elijah Moore, we have Johnny Wilson, we have Darius Cooper. So we'll see where it goes. I'm embracing the competition, and I think that we're going into a new era of Philadelphia Eagles football, and it's going to be based off ball distribution. I keep bringing that up because you're going to see so much creativity in this offense that you haven't seen, that has been sorely lacked in the last few years. Even with the success that we have, I think you're going to see our offense grow to that next level this year. And I'm really, really excited for it. Really, really excited for it. Now, I have to bring up the other news because it kind of sort of has something to do with us, but Myles Garrett, man. Myles freaking Garrett. He was traded to the LA Rams for a 2027 first round pick, as well as Jared Verse. And also, I believe, a 2028 second and a 2029 third, I believe. I could be wrong. It might be a second and third in 28. They have the years spread out. I don't know if it goes that far into 2029. I could be wrong, But I know the comp is a first, a second, and a third, as well as Jared Verse for Myles Garrett. And I honestly think for the Cleveland Browns, they won this trade, y'all. I mean, Jared Verse, in my opinion, was a borderline top 10 edge in the league, had a great rookie year, had also had a really, really good second year. I think sky's the limit for Jared Verse. And now for Cleveland, with the youth movement that you have, as well as draft picks that you're stocking, along the way, you're going to be in a position where even if you don't have your QB1 in the room this year, you have now put yourself in a beautiful position to go get your QB1 of the future in this upcoming draft or in the next upcoming draft. And I think for Cleveland, the flexibility is great because if it does work with Shador Sanders, for example, or if Deshaun Watson has a resurgence, then now you have so much draft capital to build around that guy. And either way, you're not going to have to pay top dollar for any one of those guys. Even if Watson goes crazy, Watson has so much. He has so much to prove. He has a mountain to climb, dog. He ain't about to just come out here, throw for 4K, and they about to give him another 250. And trust me, it ain't gonna work that way. He's gonna have to work his way back. And if Shador goes off, Shador's on a rookie contract still, and you can still build around him. So I think for Cleveland, this is excellent, excellent. For LA, it's F them picks per usual. Wes Snead is just, he really does not care about building through the draft. And I think in this position, he really shouldn't care about building through the draft. Stafford, just read up. This is going to be it for him. He just won his MVP. He wants to win another ring. You went and got Trent McDuffie, and you went and got Jalen Watson in the offseason to help your secondary out and get yourselves right in the back end, because that's always been the issue with the Rams. The Rams were the great offense. They're going to put up 40, but they're going to give up 45. That's literally what the Rams have been the last couple of years. And it's always been because their secondary is piss poor. I mean, look at us last year. Look at the Eagles in the Rams game last year. They were shutting us down. We decided to say, fuck the bullshit and give the ball to A.J. Brown because their DBs can't do shit about it. And that literally won us the game. And we came back from 2 or 3 scores down to beat the Rams in week 3 or 4. So the Rams addressed their needs. I would have loved for them to keep Verse if there was any way to do so. But remember what I told you guys in my last video or the video before that. Whatever video was the Myles Garrett video, I believe it was the video before. Yeah, the last video was the A.J. Brown news. This video, it was my second video. When I said to you guys, with the Myles Garrett trade, if we were going to pull the trigger on that trade and it was going to be somebody where you were going to be like him, and guess what? For the Rams, I'm sure there's plenty of Rams fans that are like bittersweet where it's like, damn, Verse? We had to give up Verse because he was a young stud. And that's, if a great GM, Andrew Berry, he is a Howie Roseman, he came up under Howie Roseman, so he knows how to play the game. He knows how to get value back. And, in my opinion, I think Barry's done a hell of a job the last couple of years in terms of maneuvering the draft, making that trade with the Jaguars for them to trade up for Travis Hunter. I know in hindsight, they weren't expecting Jacksonville to make that jump and be a playoff team last year, so it kind of hindered, but they still were able to draft Casey Concepcion out of it. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of it. They're making the right moves to put themselves in a great position for the future. And I'm actually excited, low-key, for the Cleveland Browns. I think if one of those quarterbacks works, they're ahead of the game. But even if it doesn't, you're in a position next year where you could go out and get a quarterback high in this draft. Whether it's with your pick, if you end up, flattening out and being, the worst team in the league again, then hey, you'll have a top, 3 pick, whatever. But you have the capital no matter what to be able to move up. You can maneuver up and down the board, and you can, you still have some vets in the building that if you really needed to pivot, and move in another direction, because this Myles Garrett trade also tells me that no one on Cleveland is safe. I would be paying a lot of attention to Denzel Ward, especially if we see some DBs get hurt in camp on other teams. Denzel Ward right now could probably go for a first round pick or maybe a second round pick. So with them, they have talent on that team where you can pivot and they can move in another direction and still have the youth on their team because they have so many picks accumulated. They can still make moves. So I'm happy for the Browns in that aspect. I think that they're going to be in a great position to draft a quarterback, and I really hope it works out with Shador. That's really my thing. But hey, man, the Eagles had a chance to acquire Myles Garrett as well, but the rumor is that the comp was Jalen Carter in a first round pick, and the Eagles were not willing to pivot off of Jalen Carter, which does, that's very encouraging for me, honestly. I love that because there was some speculation that Jalen Carter might have been on the trade block earlier this offseason during free agency because of what happened last year with, some immaturity issues with the Dak Prescott situation in week 1. He was kind of out of shape, coming off of the Super Bowl. And he also dealt with some shoulder injuries. And there was just some questions blooming about if he had that motivating drive. All Jalen Carter has done this offseason is work his ass off. From the clips that I've seen, he's been more present, as a teammate. He's been taking that next step in initiative and being a leader. Showing up to Jordan Davis's contract extension signing when no one asked him to. That's very telling, to be there for his brother. And, my greatest hope is that this time next year, or, maybe a little earlier than this time next year, maybe March of next year, we'll be seeing JD at JC's contract extension signing. But the fact that we didn't want to pivot off of Carter, it tells me everything that I need to know about an extension. It is on the way. And, time will tell on that, on what the number will be. I think that's ultimately up to Jalen Carter and how great he does this year. And I'm really rooting for him in that aspect. But I wanted to, come here just to, talk to y'all about AJ Brown. And ultimately, he did what he set out to do, man. He was an excellent wide receiver 1 for us. He was dominant as an Eagle. He moved the needle. He turned us into a fringe playoff team, from a fringe playoff team to a legitimate NFC contender. And for that, I will greatly be appreciative of him. It didn't end the way that I would like it, that I would have loved it to end. But at the end of the day, Ayo, man, you was always open, and you're gonna forever be an Eagle to me. You know what I mean? Ultimately, you can go do what you got to do in New England. I'm hoping that everything that's seeking out there in terms of your statistics and getting yourself to the Hall of Fame and being a first team All Pro and maybe possibly being the best receiver in football. I hope you can achieve all of that out there, bro. I really do. But at the end of the day, we got to keep it pushing, man. And Devontae Smith, you are now in a position, brother, where everything that was advertised about you coming out of Bama, Heisman Trophy winner, the man, the myth, 250 yards first half national championship game, going crazy. I want to see that, Smitty. And I think that we're gonna get a big year out of you, bro. My prediction for Smitty, my early prediction, y'all, and I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all. Mannion offense, a lot of motion, a lot of quick pass, a lot of jet action, a lot of bubble screens, putting him in space, getting him over the middle of the field. Devontae Smith going for 1,500 yards this year, y'all. 1,500. Mark my words. If I'm lying, I'm flying. But this your boy Zaho Fax. Man, 19 minutes. I didn't even think this was going to be this long. But hey, it's your boy Zaho Fax, man. And this is Talking Sporty. I'll be back within the week with more news on the life after AJ.
Stop the motherfucking pack. Yo.
Shall I begin? Pussy niggas get served. Another bridge to burn. Either live or you learn. Digits get earned. Off the head top, it ain't perm. Never been the type to curl like Big Worm. Catch your fade over your shoulder. Try to test my release. You get deceased. Smoke like the kush overseas from Middle East. No beast. I ain't touched that shit since 12 or 13. Ducking 12 from lurking while we skelling murk things. Kinda clock my life and still laughing most of the timeline. Try to come between me and Fetty, a fine line.